Webcast One Live studios, it's the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we help you tackle financial issues no matter how big or small. We help people go from being broke and scared to having hope with a plan. And now, here is your host, the owner and lead financial coach at Strong Tower Consulting, Justin Bennett.
And we are live here at the Webcast One studios. It is the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we do help people from being broke and scared and give them hope with a plan. We are glad you are here with us today, and today is just an exciting show. I am just jacked. I'm very excited. You have heard me on this show a lot talk about the importance of following the Dave Ramsey 7 baby steps. Well, tonight our focus is going to be on baby step 7, build wealth and give a bunch of it away. And not so much from baby step 7 as what it is, but from people who've actually been there. I want to give you hope and inspire you. Yes, you could get to baby step 7. So I want you to think about it for a moment. Think about having no debt payments, owing nobody anything, not even the house, pile of money in the bank, and no financial worries. Yes, that can be you. I know our culture says very hard to do, but it is very possible. So on today's show, I have two awesome guests with me. One is Bob Conroy with Conroy Insurance LLC. He's been on our show several times, one of our advertisers, and we're going to talk to him both from a personal and a business level about being on baby step 7. Later on today's show, we're going to have Adam Obrecht with AO Wealth Advisory. Again, same thing, from a professional and a personal standpoint, being on baby step 7 with the goal in mind to inspire you that, yes, you can go from living paycheck to paycheck, having lots of debt, to going from that to baby step 7. So you've picked a great time to join us. Thank you for doing so. So again, our first guest today is Bob Conroy. Bob, how's it going today?
It's great. Good to see you again.
As always, good to have you. And go back to Bob a second here. I like this. I'm retired, so stop asking me to do things.
Yeah, one of my daughters gave me that right after I retired from my corporate job a few years ago. And what was happening is every time I turned around, there was another thing or another activity or another something to get done. And so she thought it was kind of cute, so she gave me that. I've kept that in my office ever since. Hasn't stopped me from picking up new things to do, but it's cute.
Fun. Yeah. So you're on baby step 7, and again, thank you for being willing to share some of that today. And so when did you hit baby step 7?
I don't know, and it's a story. I look at it, and really about the only way to keep score is net worth. I mean, that ultimately that's what it. All of your assets. And subtract out your liabilities. And if you've got more assets than liabilities, you've got a net worth. Well, I guess you've got one if it's negative too, but want to keep that as high as you can. And at some point, I'd say, wife and I have, Debbie, have saved for retirement. We've had emergency funds. We did all that stuff. We hadn't been exposed to the Financial Peace University, the Dave Ramsey program, the stuff that you teach, the financial wellness and work, just didn't exist at that point. But we had kind of an idea that you maybe spend less than you make, have some savings, and take care of those things. But we hadn't figured out that the mortgage payment was really a stupid thing. Even though we had some savings and we could have paid off the house, we thought we had to get that tax write-off. Well, the math on that doesn't work. So take a $10,000 a year interest payment to your mortgage company, and you're in a 30 or 33% tax bracket, so you get $3,300 in tax savings. To give away $10,000 to get $3,000 off, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And I learned later in the Dave Ramsey program, you give the same $10,000 to your church, get the same write-off. Why would you give it to the mortgage company if you didn't have to? So I can't really give you the exact date, but 10, 12 years ago, we finally got serious about it and really worked at it.
Wow, and kind of a fun little, I don't know if it's fun, but mortgage, the Latin word literally means debt till death. And so thankfully that's not a case for you guys. Right. So when the house was paid off, how did that feel to go, I don't owe anything to the house? It
was different. I can't say first of all, and this is kind of uncomfortable sharing all this stuff, but I know it's for a good cause, and I want to, if it encourages even one of the folks listening or watching this program to contact you to work on their program, we're willing to do it. But you in our culture, you can't go out and talk about that. I mean, it makes you're the strange, odd person. But we together, we enjoyed it. Our parents knew about it. a couple friends that we knew were in the same position, had not made the same kinds of sacrifices and intensity to get it done, so you could share with them. But that's about it. So it was pretty quiet. And then it took a few months for it to really sink in when no longer making a mortgage payment, and all of a sudden the money would just kind of pile up, in the check. Well, better move that over. It really is kind of sunk in kind of later over a period of time. But it's a great feeling. Was it the Eagles? A peaceful, easy feeling. So to borrow that, that's what it felt like.
Very cool. Now, and by the way, thank you again for sharing this. And I know it's personal, and I appreciate that. So, but you have accomplished something, and your wife Debbie as well, that I think a lot of Americans, even as the teenagers and early 20s, dream about, and that's retiring early, or at least what we consider early, from that age 65. When did you retire, and what was that like to be able to do that?
Well, I retired 3 years ago, almost 3.5 years ago. I was 57, and it was. I took the first month after retirement, and I sat around and watched NCIS reruns. So I'm an NCIS expert. I guess that was my transition from the corporate world into doing the things I like to do. I started setting up the insurance agency, and that had been a 10-year plus plan that Debbie and I had. I have a little software venture with a former employee that had approached me a couple years ago that we're working on a patent. And bought some property to put the agency in. So lots of things to go. Well, I'm also a private pilot, and I'm a member of the Des Moines Flying Club. It's an LLC down at Des Moines Airport. We have 5 airplanes. And so I became the volunteer treasurer for that group for 2 years. Boy, that was a lot of work, but what a great learning opportunity. Got to know people a lot better, learned a lot more about accounting at some level that I hadn't before. Just tons of activities that we couldn't have done otherwise.
So I'm assuming a lot more fun, not that you didn't have fun with your corporate life, but no more the daily, I don't want to call it grind, but the daily, that stuff, that was over. So I'm sure that transition was a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, it was. What happened is you can pick and choose what you want to do. And I don't even know if you're a CEO of a large company that you can really truly do that. It's just having that freedom and that flexibility. I love the insurance business, and I've been in all my life. Des Moines, it's a big deal here. In the state of Iowa, it's a big deal. It's like 9% of the gross domestic product of Iowa is insurance.
Wow.
And what we do is an incredible thing. And we'll talk about that, I think, in the next segment. But it's just a great institution, and I love supporting it and giving back. It's been good to me. So I'm on the Chartered Property Casualty Underwriters, which is a credentialed group of professionals, and Iowa happens to have like the 3rd largest chapter in the world, and we have over 600 members with that designation. I've been on that board for since 1991, and take care of the website. I'm also on the board of the Iowa Insurance Hall of Fame. So I'm retired, but I'm still involved in the things that I enjoy doing, and kind of on my terms. Interesting too. I read a article today on Forbes, and it was an interview with Rick Warren, and he was saying there's nothing about retirement in the Bible that to retire and just to go off and just kind of do a narcissistic lifestyle as opposed to giving back and doing that doesn't make any sense at all. He is going to retire at 65. He announced that when he started the church. But he won't retire. And it was kind of interesting. I read that today. It's out on Forbes.com if anyone wants to read it. Great article about retirement.
That's great. No, and I know I was in the same boat when I was young or younger. I was thinking about, I'm going to retire at this age or at this age. And then once you get focused and you have a passion or passions, it's very hard to, at 65, I'm just going to quit. I'm not going to do anymore.
Yeah. How could you do that? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, how can you help give encouragement? I mean, you already have, but as far as there are probably folks viewing this right now who they're thinking, Bob, that's great, but I'm figuring out how to pay my lights. I don't even have any money in savings, and you're over here. I don't know if I can ever be that baby step 7 type of person. What could you tell them to give them some hope that, yes, someday you could be there if you follow this stuff that we teach, you could be where we are?
Well, I think I got involved in Financial Peace University at Church a few years ago, and I've helped facilitate 9 or 10 classes over that period of time. So I've seen at least 1,000 people go through this, and of course you and I share an office, so I see your clients coming in all the time, and I see people going from broke and without hope to having hope and a plan. I mean, I see that every day at the office, and so I know it's possible. I've seen some people just get very, very excited about this. The ones that, and maybe I'm reading into it too much, but I think you can spot them a mile away. They get excited about the prospect. If it's a couple, they both have to be on the exact same page. They have to have shared goals, a vision to do it, and be willing to do what it takes to get it done. It's that the gazelle intensity, the getting away from the cheetah when you're the gazelle on the African plain. You don't come in second place there. It's first place. You give 110%. Well, that's the kind of focus and intensity that's required to get to that point. And I got to tell you, that sounds terrible. And, rice and beans and all that. It's a journey, and it's a fun journey. You do it together, you get it done, and it's fun.
And actually, when you're doing the process and you're doing what Dave Ramsey calls it, the rice and beans and rice food budget, or your gazelle intense, meaning you're just laser-like focused and you're just putting all this effort into each baby step and you're really doing it. There's some neat little experiences or stories that when you look back, when you're on baby step 4, 5, or 6, and you're out of debt and you're starting to get towards baby step 7, you can look back and go, hey, do you remember when we used to live off that for a food budget, or when we used to do those things? And what's interesting, we share the same office as you talked about, and one of the things that you've shared is, I don't see myself ever buying a new car.
Oh, yeah.
Explain that.
Mainly cars aren't important to me, for one, and then you go beyond that. It's one of the ways I've always thought is I never want to love something that can't love me back, and a car sure can't love you back. It can sure send you a lot of bills. It's just not important to me. I want a safe car. I want transportation to get me from A to B. It just doesn't mean much to me. That's primary. Another reason, though, is to set an example to our children. Our children are adults. They're grown. I'm very proud of all of them. They're all making their way in the world. They're all at one level or another being responsible with their money, and we're very, very happy and grateful for that. But they continue to watch us, and I'm not going to come home with some new car I don't really want, just because there's kind of this societal pressure to do it, because it creates envy and need and with neighbors, and I just have no need for it.
Well, there's a great book, and you've read it, The Millionaire Next Door.
Yeah.
And in that story, The Millionaire Next Door, there is a guy who was given a brand new Rolls Royce. He said, I don't need it. It's not for what I do. I'm just going to tear it up, and you're giving me this $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 car. Yeah, it'd be nice to have, but it doesn't do me any good.
Well, he likes to go fishing. He couldn't throw his stringer of fish in the backseat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, we come back here at the Strong Tower Financial Hour. We're going to talk more with Bob Conroy and how insurance plays a role in getting to baby step 7. We'll be back.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershide.
I'm administrative manager
I'm the senior technician.
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
If we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
It's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's going to be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're going to do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed right or it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
If you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave. and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed right or it's free or 100% money back.
enough said.
And we're back here at the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where again we do help people from being broke and scared and giving them hope with a plan. Thank you again for joining us on today's theme, which is Baby Step 7. Build wealth and give a bunch of it away. How can someone like you, most of America lives paycheck to paycheck. 7 out of 10 homes are living paycheck to paycheck right now. So how would it feel to go from that to having no more debt payments, having money in the bank, and no worries financially? That's what the show is all about, to give you hope. And so today's show, that's what we're doing. We're talking to folks that are really there, Baby Step 7, who have been willing to come on and share how they got there. And so we're going to go to our guests in a moment. Again, we had Bob Conroy on our last segment from Conroy Insurance, LLC. Later today, we'll have Adam Obrecht with AO Wealth Advisory, and we'll talk with him as well. Some of you might be going, baby steps, Justin. I'm just now joining your show. I missed the baby steps. What are those? Well, Dave Ramsey, who's probably the most popular guy in personal finance, come up with these 7 baby steps that if you do these little steps in order over time, you'll get to build wealth and become financially free. So real quick, let's cover those 7 baby steps so you have the knowledge that we're talking about here. So baby step 1 is to get $1,000 cash in the bank as a starter emergency fund. Now, that's a baby emergency fund. Obviously, it's not fully funded, but it's to get some money in savings. Sadly, 64% of Americans don't even have $1,000. So get $1,000 in the bank, complete focus on baby step 1. When that's done, we do baby step 2, which is the debt snowball. This is where we list all of the debts, smallest to largest, based on balance, pay minimum payments on everything but the smallest one, and then you attack the smallest one with every extra dollar you can. You pay off that debt, the smallest debt, and then you pay off the next smallest debt, and you build more snow with those payments. So when you get to that last large debt, that student loan, that car loan, you have at least $1,000, sometimes $2,000 or more a month additional going to that large debt. When you've paid off all the debts but the house, awesome. Now we're at baby step 3, finishing that emergency fund, taking that $1,000 and going to 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. When you've done baby steps 1, 2, and 3, you've now laid the foundation to build wealth. So now you do baby step 4, which is investing 15% of your income for retirement. Baby step 5, optional, save for the kids' college. Baby step 6, pay off the house early. Yes, pay off the house and be done with it. When you've done all 6 baby steps, the last one you do, and it's on repeat, is you build wealth and give a whole bunch of it away. And that's what today's show is all about, talking about what it's like to be on baby step 7. Well, again, one of our hosts and advertisers, Conroy Insurance, LLC, Bob. Let's talk a little bit about insurance in baby step 7, but it probably would be good to remind the folks, what is the overall purpose of insurance?
Well, that's a great question. Insurance is a transfer mechanism. Just the fact that we exist, we have assets, we have risk of losing those or having an economic loss. So insurance at its very basic level is transferring that risk of loss, economic loss, to the insurance company. Now you can take it all the way back to the Lloyd's of London coffee shop and the Lloyd's of London that everybody I think knows about, where you can insure just about anything in the Lloyd's of London. Well, it started in a coffee shop, and it was to help finance the ocean voyages as they would go around to the Spice Islands, and there was a big risk in those. So a lot of people would share in that loss or in the risk of that loss. But if it came back, there was a lot of wealth to be spread. Well, that's the same concept. The losses of the few. Not everybody's going to have an auto accident this year. Not everybody's house is going to burn down. Those losses by those few people are shared by the many. And we do that by pooling the premiums together and creating that bucket of money to do that. And at the end of the day, it preserves wealth. Instead of, for example, some of these natural disasters, and you have grant programs, or not grants, but low interest loans from FEMA and so on, that's a loan. That's a debt. You've picked up a debt on that. But if you have insurance, you get made whole, and you've preserved your equity. So that it may be too long of an explanation to a simple concept, but it's a transfer of risk.
Well, at the end of the day, baby step 7, when one's there, that's a sense of financial freedom and sense of financial peace. Well, so is insurance, because even if you never, because I have some people say, well, why do I want to pay insurance? Because I may never use the policy, but it gives you that peace of mind, doesn't it?
Exactly.
That even if I never have to use the insurance, at least I have the peace if something catastrophe would happen, I've got something to cover if I miss that.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's peace of mind. It also allows people to take the risk in businesses, to build factories, to all those things that might not happen unless there was that spreading of risk to allow those things to go forward. It really fuels the economy.
It really, truly does. So again, talking about baby step 7 today, what kind of conversations, I mean, is the conversations different with those in baby step 7 than say in baby steps 1, 2, or 3?
Oh yeah. And when somebody's struggling to make their bills every month, the conversation is all about price. It's always about how much is this going to cost, and even worse, how much down and all. I mean, and that's just the reality of it. If there's not a lot of money and the cash flow is impaired, that price is the number one thing. So then that takes away the possibility of getting the proper coverage. And what we've done with folks like that is we put together a plan with recommendations and review what they have. Look back at the 4 walls, the basic things that have to be covered. If there's dependents involved, we make sure there's some life insurance there, some term insurance, and make sure those needs are taken care of. But you just allocate the money in a prioritized way. And then as the cash flow improves, we go in and take care of the next things on that list.
Very good. And the one thing I like with working with you guys and having my clients go to you guys is when you get that recommendations letter, that you're willing to say, you know what, your insurance company, it's okay, just make these changes. And I don't know many insurance, not that you're out to never get clients, that's not the goal here, but you're just open and honest and part of that trusted choice network. And that's really good when you have an insurance agent that's looking at for your best needs, not just how can I get more money in my pocket.
Well, we did a Dave Ramsey debt-free business too, so it's not like we have to get so much business in, and so we can do what we want to do and do the right thing for people. And yeah, in most cases, especially with the clients that are working through the baby steps, they're better off to stay right where they're at. They may reallocate. I drop this coverage, add that coverage. So yeah, it's good. And if at some point we get them as a client, we'd be happy to have them, but we're going to do it when it's right for them too. You talked about the differences. The other thing, the people that are at baby step 7, they tend to have more toys. They travel a lot, sometimes out of the country. So you've got issues with medical coverage when you're traveling. You have empty homes when they're away. Often there's second homes. And so the coverage has become a little more complex from an agency standpoint and making sure it's all done. Oftentimes the properties are in trust funds, so making sure we get those set up properly in terms of the insurance. We obviously don't do the legal side, but make sure that everything's covered that needs to be covered in the policy. We start looking at deductibles. Deductibles, think of that as self-insurance. It's a retention. And as people have more assets, they're much better off to take larger retentions and not turn in smaller claims. It costs an insurance company a lot of money to adjust a claim. So many people have to touch it and analyze it and move it through the system. So even though you might get a small amount back, you've generated a lot of expense there, and eventually that's going to come back at you if you have a lot of those. Save it for the big losses, and it's the baby step 7 people that can do that more easily.
And not only that, but then they can lower their premiums because they could take the risk. So another incentive to be a baby step 7 folk or work on your way to getting there is you don't have to take the risk, or you can take a bigger risk, Therefore, you can say, hey, can we lower my premium? And thus gives you better cash flow. Yeah,
even at a fully funded emergency fund, you're pretty much at that step too. At 7, really, then you start looking at, do you really need life insurance at that point? And typically, baby step 7 people are older, like me, and the need for life insurance is less or maybe not even existent. There may be some estate planning needs for it, some liquidity depending on the nature of the assets and that. But that's something to take a look at too.
So one of the things I want to ask you is kind of tying all of this together, both the personal side that we talked in the last segment and then the insurance side. You've taught a lot of Financial Peace University classes. You've lived it yourself. You've seen people in and out. What are the two biggest things you would say if you really want to be a baby step 7, no more debt, money in the bank? What are the two biggest things that if anyone does these two things, you can be well on your way to getting to baby step 7?
First one's just as obvious as it can be. It's you got to decide that you want to do it, and if you're a couple, the two of you have to agree on it. You have to be totally in sync on this and decide that I want to be out of debt, and here's the goal. So set some long-term goals. Think back. So it takes a couple years to maybe get to 4. I think that's the average to get to the fully funded. A few more years after that to pay the house off because you basically have snowballed into the mortgage. So even if that's 4 or 5 years down the road, think back to high school. Can you remember it? I mean, everything seemed so serious back then, and it's just the time goes by so quick. Get focused on it right now, today. The other thing I was thinking about on that was get some help. I mean, get help on that. Financial Peace, your financial wellness program at the workplace, or talk to you about using you as a personal coach. If somebody's overweight, get a personal trainer, get some help. If something's wrong with your car, you take it to a mechanic. If you want to get well financially, get a coach and get it done, and stay intense on it. Which, can I throw a third one in there? Then?
Go ahead.
And that's the intensity thing. Stay intense on it. The cheetah on the plane again. Cheetah, and stay away from the debt and stay focused on it. Those years that you're doing this will go by. They'll be fun. When you think back on them, you'll it's a sense of accomplishment and all that. I'd just say, focus on it and do it.
I think the biggest thing of those 3 that you said that I would agree with all of these is the decision. The biggest thing I see with folks, whether they're my clients or not, and I talk to them, is there has to be a deep down emotional and spiritual change. I am not going into debt anymore. So when thing A, B, and C happens, I'm not doing it. And I'm going to be focused. And so, Bob, thank you very much for sharing your words of wisdom and your experience. Well, when we come back here on the Strong Tower Financial Hour, we're going to have Adam Olbricht with AO Wealth Advisory. We're going to talk to him about his Baby Step 7 story, along with also how he helps clients get to Baby Step 7. You do not want to miss this. Again, we're the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we give people hope, and we go take people from being broke and scared and give them hope with a plan.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
My name is Justin Bennett with Strong Tower Consulting, where we passionately coach individuals, families, and businesses to make better financial decisions that help create success and eliminate financial stress. I offer a free 30-minute consultation where we find out where your situation is. I explain how I do my coaching services. Then it's up to you whether you want to continue. The Bible has, depending on who you believe, 800 to 2,000 scriptures that talk about money alone. So it's a pretty important subject in God's eyes. That's one of the things that I enjoy doing, is help them see God's ways of handling money. It's interesting. Most people that I ask, what would it be like to be debt-free? The common response is, I don't know. I don't think it's possible. But in 90 days, most of my clients go from, I don't think it's possible, to, I'm excited. In 2 years or less, I will be debt-free. There's no tricks, no gimmicks, nothing being sold here. It's just learning how to do money well. This is Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we help people go from being broke and scared to having hope with a plan.
Hi, I'm J. Michael McCoy for Adam Olbricht, financial planner and AO Wealth Advisor. Adam, tell the folks listening today just who is Adam Albrecht.
I am a certified financial planner, and I created AO Wealth Advisory a couple years ago to be able to help people with their finances all the way from basic budgeting on to retirement and estate planning.
All right, now that we know who you are, what do you do? How do you help people?
I help people by focusing on 3 key areas, on what they earn, how they invest it wisely, and then also where they give it on, whether it's onto charity or onto family, but do it from a biblical base, using verses that have been around forever, transcendent knowledge that's been around 4,000 plus years.
Call Adam Albrecht, a financial planner with AO Wealth Advisory. Give us your number, Adam.
Yeah, 515-224-7849.
Advisory services offered through Investment Advisors Corp., an SEC-registered investment advisor. Securities offered through Broker Dealer Financial Services Corp., members FINRA and SIPC. Thanks for watching.
There's gonna be brighter days. There's gonna be brighter days. I won't stop, I'll keep my head.
We are back here at the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we do help people from being broke and scared. I said it right this time, from having hope with a plan. So thank you again for joining us on a theme hour of Baby Step 7, building wealth and giving a whole bunch of it away. And if, again, we talked about the baby steps in the last segment, Dave Ramsey 7 baby steps. If you know them at all, you know when you're at baby step 7, you have no debt, money in the bank, and no worries financially, at least from a having to pay the bills. That's what a great place to be. And so I want to thank Bob Conroy with Conroy Insurance LLC for being on earlier. And by the way, when we talked about his insurance company that he and his wife own at Conroy Insurance LLC, be sure to go to their website and do a quote. Again, they're very honest, and they'll tell you, if you're good to stay right with where you're at, listen, I have seen the recommendations, and they'll flat out say, stay with where you are. But if they have something better, they're also going to say, hey, we recommend A, B, and C. And so you want to give them a chance. Well, we have Adam Albrecht with AO Wealth Advisory. Adam, how are you today?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. Well, glad to have you back on the show.
Thank you. It's been always fun to come back here.
Awesome. Well, Adam, again, like I told Bob, thank you very much, because I know people, when you're in baby step 7, it's not like something that you wear a t-shirt and you want everyone just to come see who you are and where you are. So thank you for being here and being transparent. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
So when did you hit this magnificent baby step 7?
It was actually this year, so very recent for me and my wife. We have kind of gone through a period where 8 years of financial peace, of going through budgets and that. But then we were also kind of blessed with a small gift through family, through inheritance, that pushed us over the edge.
You know, it's interesting, too, you said that, because I have seen so many clients get that inheritance or a gift or whatever. I mean, I had a client that had $1.8 million, and they came to me afterwards.
Yep.
And they were just like, oh. It was just, you could just hear the pin drop in the room. But when you have a plan and those things happen, it's interesting how it helps. So what was it like to say, house payment gone, debt gone, all gone? What was that like?
The course is called Financial Peace for a reason. There definitely was a peace about it. It was one of those things that to get that letter from Wells Fargo to let me know that I owed them nothing more was a great letter to receive. It was kind of a giddy day at that point. But kind of contrary to where Bob's at, Bob is at the point where he's an empty nester, baby step 7. We still have a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old at home. And so while we're debt free with the mortgage, we still have retirement and we still have college education to save back for. So we still have those big hurdles ahead of us. We just don't show it on the liability side of our balance sheet.
And I'm sure the responsibility feels a lot less stressed to fund the college fund, to fund those things for your kids than what it would be if you had the credit card debt and the student loan debt and the car debt, et cetera.
Yeah. No, it's obviously much easier to do. And things like, you shift those dollars in your budget. We actually shifted some of the dollars back to giving, and we shifted some of the dollars into upping our college savings and upping our retirement a little bit. But we also shifted some of it to vacation and some of it into repairs on the house. The house still needs to be maintained. Windows don't last forever. Siding doesn't last forever. So we've kind of spread it around a little bit more. And it's been nice to see those portions of our budget grow and the savings in those categories grow.
Now, you mentioned giving, which is part of Baby Step 7, build wealth and give a bunch of it away. And I'm not going to ask how much you give. That's no one's business or mine or who you give to. But what is it like being able to give in a Baby Step 7 way? Describe to the listeners or the watchers what that's like.
Yeah, it's definitely still a freeing thing. So when you get a request in the mail from an organization that you're passionate about, something that you do truly want to help with, not I feel obligated to help with, but truly feel like you want to give, be a cheerful giver. Now you're able to write the check to do that. And we kind of split in our budget 2 different ways. We split it tithes and offerings. So we split part of our budget out for the church and for where we worship at on the weekends and we get filled up. But then the other part of our budget is for those requests that come in. Had a letter show up this weekend on an organization we're passionate about. It's nice to be able to turn around the next day and write them a check and know that the money is already in the budget for it, not, hey, where's this come from?
Well, not only that, I see so many people, and you do too, I'm sure, as a financial planner, where people want to give and they hear the story, whether it's to their church or to missions or to a child that's hungry, and we hear these and we go, oh man, we want to do it. But if you're not in a place of Baby Step 7 or at least Baby Step 3 and 4, you feel the heartstrings, you want to give, but you also got to take care of your family, and it's just not a good feeling. And I met with someone last week, and when we met, that's what they said. They go, Justin, we have a heart to give, but we know we can't because of this debt. And what you're saying out loud is you have a lot more on your budget line item for giving when you're on Baby Step 7.
Yeah, you definitely do. And it increases, and it's a great feeling on that. But even when you're in the other baby steps, having a giving line item is important. Ramsey talks about it as well, that the closed fist, nothing flows through, the open hand, it does. And it's very true. With the giving we gave before we reached Baby Step 7, we were happy about, we just couldn't do the extras. We couldn't talk about helping an organization permanently or annually or being a supporter alongside of an organization instead of writing them a check for $100.
No, absolutely. And, as Dave Ramsey would say, and I would say the same thing, usually if you're on Baby Step 1, 2, or 3, 10% around that line item, use that for giving. I had a good friend of mine which basically said exactly what you said, and that was, the question I raised was, I want to give like that. I'm not there yet. And he said, well, practice now. Practice in the small ways, even if it's not with dollars. Just practice giving, whether it's giving to a shelter or giving to a charity or of your time. Just practice giving. So when you get to Baby Step 4, 5, 6, 7, you've built the character and your muscle to continue to do that when you've got the money to do so.
Yeah, and the thing I also see people kind of mess up on the giving side is they do it out of obligation. They write a check. Oh, I went to this school and they're asking for money for the scholarship fund. I just feel like I have to give something. Or that they're going to a church but aren't getting filled up there and they feel like they have to give to that church. That's not where they should be giving. It's to places that they, in essence, get giddy about. It may be the Good Samaritan thing of paying for somebody else's gas while they're at the gas station. I remember, going to Meals for the Heartland and helping out with that. My 6-year-old and I did that during spring break here. And just being able to not only give our time, but give some of our resources as well, it's a great feeling to get to that point. And you can do that at any level. That doesn't have to be a Baby Step 7 level. That's any time.
And you mentioned Meals from the Heartland, and I agree. You can help teach your kids about giving, whether it's with small dollar bills or the Meals for the Heartland, and doing that. We have 5 kids, and so we've done that with our kids, the Meals for the Heartland. And even watching our 4-year-old, it was just, she was, for 45 of the 60 minutes, she was back and forth with the bags, and then the last 15 minutes, it took a lot of coercing to keep her going. But what you did with your kids is awesome, is you're teaching them the giving, so when they get older, they're able to give, whether, again, with time, money, talent, doesn't matter if it's for the church or for, again, Good Samaritan, what you're giddy about. Again, it's not feeling the I have to or I should to be a good person. No, it's you want to because it's the right thing to do.
Yep. Yeah, and there's always a lot of stories about people that are in impromptu situations and they know it's the right thing to do to help. And if they have it in their budget and they have the cash to do it, now they're able to help. Versus, I wish I could have, and they haven't set aside those resources and don't have that ability to do it because they're in their own financial troubles. And it goes back to when we look at debt as a whole, debt itself isn't a sin. It's just a block between you and what God wants you to do.
Well said. Well said. So, as I asked Bob in or a couple segments back, I asked him the question. So, what would you tell someone that's trying to follow these baby steps? Because I meet them all the time, and you do too. Who they're trying to follow this plan, they're trying to live on a budget, and they keep hitting the brick wall. What would you tell them to be encouraged to keep fighting, keep going? What would you tell them?
It's consistency. It's that month-to-month consistency. As talked on other times, I came to financial peace through my wife. As a financial planner, I thought I had it figured out. She was the one that really led me down the path of we need something more personally for us, not just big picture, throw it all into investments and it'll all work out. So, as I told you, it was 8 years from when we took financial peace to when we reached baby step 7. Very fast time frame in the reality of it. But whether it was our old house, was the house we're in now, we really focused on making sure we were getting out of debt, and we put those resources back to do it. One thing we did do different is education planning. Up until baby step 7, we didn't put as much probably away there as most people would have. We put that on the mortgage because we wanted the mortgage paid off before our kids went to college, and was thinking that would be our way to help pay for college is the extra cash flow we have.
Very good. And I thought Bob gave a good analogy in the last segment, thinking of school. I mean, you said 8 years, and so the average that does baby step 1 to 7, it's about 8 to 10 years, somewhere in that range. But if you even look at it from junior high and high school, you've covered most of that 8 years. And yes, back then, junior high and high school felt like forever. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, where'd the time go? I mean, it's gone. And so at the time you're focusing on this, I think you would agree that there's some focus and there's, I can't say yes to this yet, or I'm doing this. But when you get to that, I mean, you even said when you got that letter from Wells Fargo, how awesome, how giddy you felt going, it's done. I did it. I met this goal. It's gone.
Yep. Very much so.
Very good. So what would we talked about the folks that have the roadblocks. You say consistency. What about those who then get to baby step 3? They've got the fully funded emergency fund. They've got the debt paid off with the house. Still pour on the coals, right? Still keep it going when it comes to 4, 5, and 6. Don't let off the gas. You're just getting started, right?
Yeah, you're just starting the process. I kind of think of it as a clock pendulum. So you've gone from far right or left down to the center now that you're out of the consumer debt. You still have to go the other side of the clock. You still got to keep that same amount of effort that took you to get there to go forward to the next level. Because if you stop trying at that point, if you go back to old habits and old ways at that point, you're just going to go back into that cycle. You got to keep that consistency going. Now you maybe have a little bit more margin to do it with because you aren't paying interest payments. You aren't using current paychecks to pay back past debts. So you maybe have a little bit more margin there, but you can't definitely go back to your old ways.
That's absolutely correct. And we'll talk more in the next segment when we have you on, because one of the things you do is help people build a financial plan to get there. So last question here before we segment to the other break is baby step 7. It just happened. Actually, I'm just curious. I'm gonna throw an impromptu question. I've heard people, I've never been to one, but are you planning like a mortgage burning party? I mean, a copy of them. I've always heard of it, but I've never been to one.
Yeah, no, we didn't plan on doing a mortgage burning party at all. I did ask the lawyer that has her abstract if we should have it updated to show that our mortgage is paid off on the abstract or not. He said that would be very weird if I did that. Well, might still do it because, Ramsey people are weird.
Weird. And so weird's a good weird, right?
Yeah, it's a good weird.
Very good. And now you get to watch yourself get to that I love debt score going,
yeah.
Bye-bye. That's so cool. Yeah. Well, today's show, again, is all about baby step 7, how to get to the point of no debt, money in the bank, and having that financial peace that we've heard Dave Ramsey talk for a while, and so do we here. When we come back, we're going to have Adam come back on with AO Wealth Advisory to talk about how to build your financial plan to get to baby step 7. And there's some things that you can do to get there. And we can't wait to have you back on the Strong Tower Financial Hour, where we do help people from being broke and scared and give them hope with a plan.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Hi, my name is Steve Bensmo with RE/MAX, where a house becomes a home. And when your host, Justin, wanted to sell his home, he gave me a call. I want to share a little bit about my buying philosophy when I work with home buyers. I always want to make sure that people are taking into consideration what home they can afford, not what home they think they can afford. So I ask a question around if they've really looked at what their budget looks like for buying a home. And there's for 2 reasons. One, I do not want my clients calling me in 2 to 3 years to do a short sale. And I want people to be able to order pizza on Friday night and not be worried about the mortgage on Monday. So if you're looking for a home to buy, and you want someone on your side to make sure you're buying the right home for you right now, give me a call at 515-257-6531. Again, that's 515-257-6531. Or check me out on Facebook. Again, I'm Steve Bensmo with RE/MAX, where a house becomes a home, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Thanks.
At Conroy Insurance Services, LLC, we help families and business owners protect their most valuable assets. We have established an excellent reputation with our clients, and we will continue to strive to exceed your expectations. Our talented team of insurance professionals are always available to assist you, and that is why we are independent, trusted, and preferred. Hi, I'm Bob Conroy. Contact me for all of your personal and business insurance needs at conroyllc.com.
Drink, dance, party. Kitty's is the ultimate dance club in Des Moines. A huge dance floor with room to move, 3 bars to keep your drinks full, and kickin' DJs playing all your favorite dance music. At Kitty's, we've always got your birthday party planned with Birthday Fridays. That's right, when your birthday rolls around, there's only one place to go. Gather up your friends and head to Kitty's, where you drink free on the Friday of your birthday week. Find out more about Birthday Fridays at kittiesusa.com. Kitty's, all kinds of people, all kinds of music, all kinds of fun.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity, tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
And we are live back here at the Strong Tower Financial Hour. Thanks for joining us. And again, this is the Baby Step 7 theme hour, build wealth and give a whole bunch of it away. Now, I've had the opportunity to meet Dave Ramsey several times, and I think he's the real deal. And I've never asked him, I've never read it, but I don't know, but I've got a hunch I know where he got Baby Step 7, at least from a scripture point of view, and I want to read this to you. It's from 1 Timothy 6:17 through 19. I think we're going to have it on the screen here to read, and it says this: "Instruct those who are rich in the present age not to be arrogant or to set their hope on the uncertainty of wealth, but on God, who richly provides us with all things to enjoy. Instruct them to do what is good, to be rich in works, to be generous, willing to share, storing up for themselves a good reserve for the age to come, so that they may take hold of life that is real." 1 Timothy 6:17 through 19. So I think the two things that the scripture talks about here, and I think that encompasses Baby Step 7, is first that enjoy the blessings God have given us. And I remember a pastor one time telling us that if you have more than your basic necessities, you're wealthy. And in fact, a website that I found the other day by a book that actually Adam Obricht let me have from Randy Alcorn, Managing God's Money. There's a website in that book. And it was interesting. If you put $50,000 as your annual income, which, by the way, is the average in America, that puts you in the top 1% of the world's income. And so that's average in America. In the world standards, average of us are wealthy. And so we need to enjoy the blessings God's have given us, and he has blessed a lot of us beyond measure, but also give a bunch of it away. Well, again, we have Adam Obricht with AL Wealth Advisory here. And also I want, before we go back to you, Adam, tell the folks, I found out this fall, Dave Ramsey has an FPU2 almost, if you will, called The Legacy Journey, for those that are on Baby Step 7. I believe this fall is when it comes out. Like FPU, it's going to be video, and I believe his daughter Rachel's going to be on there. Chris Hogan, one of his coaches that's been there for a while. And so the thing I've heard a lot of folks talk about is when's a future FPU, more of an investment-driven FPU coming, and my understanding is coming this fall. So stay tuned to that. Adam, again, thanks for being on here. And again, one of the things you do is help people get to the point of baby step 7. How do you do that?
Yeah, it's a lot of what our journey is, but some similar things to what's in Ramsey, obviously, because what he talks about isn't knowledge that he created by any means. It's common knowledge out there. It's what our grandparents did, but really help people focus and get down to that point where the resources they have, AO Wealth Advisory tagline is earn, invest, give. How do I maximize your earnings so you can invest it wisely and give it on to future generations? So working on that maximizing the earnings part is usually the first thing so that we make sure the paycheck and the income that somebody has is going as far as it can go.
So if you're having a conversation with baby step 1 or 2 person or baby step 4, 5, and 6, what's the difference of that conversation?
Yeah, a lot of times the 1 and 2 is really, it's down to the budgeting stuff. It's down to, okay, read the book, go to the class, take some other resources and get yourself back to a point of focus. And they're able to then, build up a small emergency fund, get their debts organized and in order. I do this actually sometimes through our church at Hope with the benevolence group and talk to people. And last week, actually, I got a text from one of the people I'd worked with that she's now debt-free, putting $600 a month back away into her emergency fund. I don't always check up on those people. They check up back with me a lot of times, and it's just great to hear that, yes, this does work, and it can work great. Somebody that's more in the 3 or 4 is, okay, you're building your emergency fund. Now you're going to your employer and saying, yes, I want to sign up for my 401k plan, and I want to look at maybe doing a Roth option inside of that 401k and maybe outside of it, depending on the resources that are available. But now we're talking about saving back money that they actually get to hold on to, not money they're sending off to pay a bill.
So you mentioned kind of already a story about someone sending you a text message saying, they went from the beginning to being debt-free. But what's it like watching someone going from the beginning all the way to baby step 7? I'm sure you've probably seen the very beginning to, I don't want to say the end, but the number that we'd stay on repeat, which is 7. What's that like? Yeah,
Obviously it's a great story, and it takes time. I've been a financial advisor now for about 14 years. So there's a lot of people in that time frame that you touch, very few that actually make baby 7 in that time frame. A lot of times people want to upgrade homes. They want to do things like that prevent them from getting to baby step 7 sooner. But those that reach that baby step 7, it does go back to what we talked about earlier, which is peace. I don't get the calls about, hey, what's happening in Cyprus? What's happening with the euro market? They know that it's handled on the investment side, but they also know that whatever happens, they're in control of their finances. Nobody else is.
Absolutely. And so what would you say, we asked Bob this when he was on earlier today, what would you say are the 2 biggest, most important keys if someone really wants to hit baby step 7? What in your mind's eye is the top 2 keys to getting to baby step 7?
Focus and consistency. So they're focused on that goal of baby step 7. And when I say I agree with Bob on this, it has to be a household decision. It can't be one spouse driving the other, one spouse forcing the other to do it, because spouses have interesting ways to get back at each other. One might go out and buy a new putter because golf season is supposed to be around the corner one of these days. And then the other one all of a sudden buy something else. And they do this one-upsmanship on outspending the other. And spouses can hurt each other quickly that way. And it's not just a financial hurt, it's a marriage hurt too. But so as spouses together, that you're focused on getting to that baby step 7. And it's also tough for a lot of spouses to think about that's really the step they're getting at. I talk to a lot, they're like, if I could only get to 4, if I could only get to 5. Well, you're undershooting. You need to get out to baby step 7. You need to keep that mortgage as part of the plan. And when that mortgage is paid off, that's the celebration point. There's small celebrations along the way. The big celebration is we're at that end.
And I like that. So one of the things you do as a wealth advisor or a financial planner is you like to help people from going to just achievement to high performance achievement. And actually Dave's got a CD on that he's created, and he says in the CD, why would you want to stop 80%? Mm-hmm. You're 20% home. Why would you want to stop? And so what do you tell folks that want to stop at 4? How do you encourage them going, you're not done? How do you encourage them that way?
Sometimes you get to that point and you've hit you've gotten worn out in essence. I've been budgeting for 5 years, been watching every penny. We've been worrying about where the money's going. I'm tired of that. Like, well, you've built a great system, great infrastructure. You just got to stick with that. And yeah, you may not be watching every penny as tight now that you've gotten to 4. You're full, you got a fully funded emergency fund. Your consumer debts are all paid off. Every penny may not matter as much at this point because it's not going out the door to interest or things that way. But you still have to stay focused. You still have to know that, last month we spent $4,000. This month we're still only going to spend $4,000. Anything extra that we have is going on to that mortgage or going on to take care of the next steps.
And I think you said a key word there, worrying. When you're on baby step 1, 2, or 3, because you're in a very limited margin and you're just, well, what if this breaks down or what if this happens? We almost forget that you're on baby step 4. You don't have to be worrying anymore. We need to change the verb and go, we're not worrying, we're striving. I don't know what the word would be, but striving was the first word that came to my mind. We're focusing on something new, and when it's striving versus worrying, it takes on a whole other set of emotions.
It does. And small story, I'll share a personal experience here recently. My wife put this out on Facebook, so I think I got permission to talk about it as well. She was helping our son trying to retrieve what we'll call a $1 glove from a creek that runs behind our house. She leaned over a little far, and her iPhone fell into the water.
Oh!
Yeah, so if we were on baby step 1 or 2, that's a huge issue. First of all, we probably don't have the iPhone, but it's a big issue. Now, it took more resources to replace it because we had it. So sometimes that more you have, the more it takes. But by Saturday, we were able to take care of that pretty quickly and easily versus having to worry about where's this coming from. Because we already had built into our budget emergency items, both an emergency fund, but also household items. Hey, when things break down, we've got the account to take care of it. So, while obviously disappointment happened and frustration happened, it wasn't a financial mess as well at the same time.
No, absolutely. And I mean, I went through it somewhere, with my dad just passing away about 3 weeks ago, and I was able to take off a couple of weeks of work and not worry because there was money in the emergency fund. And you know what? The bills are still going to get paid when I get back.
Yep.
And to have that level of peace, until you're there, I don't know, it's hard to describe it. Once you're there, it just feels great.
It does, and when those bills show up in the mail, if they even show up in the mail, if they just show up in your inbox in your email or things that way, that it's taken care of, and that there's funds there to cover it. And it's for us, we used to put everything on credit card and then pay it off at the end of the month. Our challenge was we were using this month's income to pay last month's bills. Now we're using this month's income to pay next month's bills, and that's a 3-month shift. Really, is what that ends up being. Again, it takes time to get there.
Absolutely.
And getting my clients to do the same thing, once they get there, they get it, they love it, they enjoy it, but it just takes a lot of time for them to figure that out. And you're going to mess up the first couple times. You're going to mess up at least 3 budgets.
At least.
And every now and then something pops up and you're going to have a hiccup. We forgot about the summer camp for the kids, or daycare expenses went up, or somebody's talking with today, their health insurance costs at their company went up $200 a month. That's tough. And it's a challenge to get through, but they're able to now repurpose some dollars inside of their budget to make sure that's something they can handle. The other thing they're doing is they're saying, you know what, maybe I should get an individual policy. Maybe we should go out and look at an HSA plan. Maybe we should relook at some of the investments that we've been doing instead of always putting money in outside of their retirement stuff. Is there a way to start pulling some money out to help cover some of these expenses?
Absolutely. So quickly, if someone wants to call Adam to, this sounds great, and I would like to get advice from someone who is a baby step 7 financial planner, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, I'm in West Des Moines on Westtown Parkway. So 2001 Westtown Parkway is the address, and then phone number is 515-224-7849.
And you can always Google AL Wealth Advisory, and I'm sure all the right contact information will show up. Well, Adam, as always, thank you for being here. Well, today's show again was baby step 7, and maybe you're going, Justin, I don't even have any money in savings, or I'm living paycheck to paycheck, and all this talk about paying off the house, not being worried about an iPhone falling in the creek. That would be great, but that's not me. What can be you? And that's one of the things we do at Strong Tower Consulting or Strong Tower Financial Hour is we help people get that hope that, yes, you can get there. And so if you want some help, what's one of the things I do is I offer a free 30-minute consultation where what I'll do is I'll show you how you can get started. And once you get started, you can get there, and then you can put people like Adam in your life and Bob in your life to be able to build wealth and have that financial peace. So go to strongtowerconsulting.com, click on the free consultation link, and I'd love to help you with that. I want to thank Ryan Northfield, our producer of the Strong Tower Financial Hour, and Webcast One Studios for their equipment and being here today. And thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. Thank you.